So round 4 of the Caterham Roadsport Championship took us to Donington Park. Great for an av geek like me, right next to East Midlands Airport. And coupled with the sunshine and race cars all around, and some new Innovator branding on my car, which I hoped would give me a couple of tenths a second per lap, it was a beautiful weekend in the sunshine. Talking a couple of tenths, testing went well for me. I felt I had good pace, but in qualifying, I couldn't really get it together in qualified P20, but I knew I had decent pace in the car, so I was excited to see what I could do in the race. And to the start, I actually got an excellent launch off the grid. You know, starts is something I've been working on as, for those of you who have watched my early videos, the first couple of races were challenging. So I got a great launch, but coming into the first corner, I was on the outside after starting on the outside and got compromised by cars in front of me slowing for an incident, which meant I lost most of the progress that I made. But not to worry, I knew that it was a 20-minute race, so lots of opportunity to enjoy some racing and try and make inroads where I could. Now the sun was shining, it was about 6:30 p.m. We were the very last race of the day, yet it was still warm and conditions were perfect for racing. Now, as you can see here, I mean, one thing I will mention about racing these cars at Donington Park is that the track does promote pack racing, I think because of the slipstreaming effect, and I found that, you know, the cars in front do drag the cars behind them along, which does promote very, very, very close racing. And makes it actually quite hard to make inroads in the race if you have a bad qualifying session, unlike this driver in front who absolutely sends it into the final chicane and makes a brilliant move. And that's me coming to the end of the first lap, and once again I'm extremely happy to get through it in one piece. So coming into the first corner here, which is Redgate, I get overtaken again, but coming down the Craner curves, I know that I've got the opportunity to make a pass again, as the slipstream effect is so powerful here. Look at my qualifying data between 2 laps. I've noticed that coming down the Craner curves alone, on 1 lap I made up 2/10 in this section just from the slipstream, highlighting how powerful it is. Now coming up here into McLean's, I kind of go a bit wide and lose a place. Lucky not to lose it there. These cars don't have any downforce, so when you go onto the grass like that, it can potentially be quite slippery. But luckily I only lost 1 place. Into Coppice here, which is completely blind on entry actually, so you're actually turning in before you see the corner. Just trying to see what I can do into the final chicane, but not really close enough to make a move on this occasion. The curbs on the inside of that chicane are absolutely deadly. At that point of the race I hadn't gone over them that heavily, but looking at the serrated edges of some of the yellow bits, yeah, I think they're a bit of a car breaker. So coming through Redgate again, knowing that I can take advantage of any slipstream effect coming through the Craner curves. Into the old hairpin. I'm curious as to why it's called that actually, because it's not a hairpin. Maybe there was a hairpin there previously. Answers in the comments below if you know the history of Donington Park, unlike me. As you can see, I'm starting to have some gear selection problems into McLean's there. Now the question is that a taster of what's to come further into the race weekend? But never mind, the car in front gets past, but I'm nicely in his slipstream here, ready to make a move into the final chicane, which I thankfully do. And back into some clear air to focus on getting back to the pack ahead. So I'll keep the commentary to a minimum on this bit whilst you just enjoy a clean lap of the circuit, coming into Redgate, the first corner. I think I could have maximised it a bit more there, left a lot of room on the exit. And coming through the crane of curves, completely flat out all the way. Just a light dab on the brakes into the old hairpin, trying to maintain as much speed as possible. As you can see, I'm already catching the cars ahead. They're probably busy fighting, which allows me to gain on them. And here into McLean's. No gear change issues there. And up into this blind corner here, Coppice, which you turn into before you can actually see the apex. Just chuck it in, straight back on the power. And down into the approaching the final chicane. And I'm encouraged because I can see the cars ahead, and just looking forward to getting back involved in the action, in the wheel-to-wheel action. As you can see, I'm on the tail of them already and in the slipstream, so some wheel-to-wheel racing is imminent once again. So back on the back of the pack, through the crane curves, just taking advantage of that slipstream. Sporting some new innovative branding on the inside of the car there, as you can see to the left of the dashboard. And now I'm just really biding my time and kind of thinking what I'm going to do coming out of this corner, trying to maximise it, as I know that there's a bit of a chance to make a move going into the final chicane here. But in all honesty, here I'm nowhere near close enough to make a move unless I want to absolutely banzai it. But there's no point in that. So my focus is just to get through it as fast as possible and see what I can do into the first corner. And making some progress, maybe not as close as I was the lap before. But these two are getting into it, so which allows me to take advantage there as I see their gap and just go for it. And then kind of, when you make a move like that, I find, trying to cover off the next corner as fast as possible so that the other driver can't retake the position is absolutely key. But doing it in as fair a way as possible. And I can see the drivers ahead fighting as well, which gives me confidence that I can catch up pretty quickly, which I do. And this is what I mean about pack racing. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of us, or 6 of us now approaching the final chicane. So it's all about keeping your head, not making any rash moves and causing a big accident or a big incident. And just focusing on trying to make progress through the field whilst enjoying the wheel-to-wheel action. Coming down is the old hairpin again. I run pretty wide. But still hoping I can use the slipstream to catch the cars in front. See what I mean up the front there, 3 wide going into Coppice, which slows them down a bit and allows me to join the party. So there's a lot of us getting involved here. I mean, one thing I am noticing with my driving here, and I'm being perfectly honest and transparent, is maybe I'm just not being aggressive enough into these braking points in this race, especially the final chicane and the first corner. I think I'm leaving a bit of time on the table there, in all honesty. So that's something to work on and improve for the next race. Get up through Coppice again. I actually really like this corner and how you have to just launch it without seeing the apex before you get to the crest of the corner. It's a lot of fun indeed, a great sensation. Yeah, just getting quite close to the cars in front and going wheel to wheel down the crane of curves. Now run wide again, allowing the car in front, sorry, behind, now in front, to regain the position. Like I said, with all this wheel-to-wheel fighting going on, it's amazing how quickly you can regain positions, which I think highlights the fact that it's important never to give up in this series or any racing in general. You know, you can lose positions, you can lose time, but anything can happen up front. So regardless of whether you make a mistake or you know you feel you may not have been driving hard enough, it's important never to give up, because there's always opportunity to make up space or make places. And here we're all slowed down, as I believe the safety car boards are out. And after that, I made an epic restart. There was a lot of confusion at that restart, actually. Some drivers accelerating, some drivers braking. But as you can see there, I made a move that was right on the limit. It was just over the line where we were allowed to pass for the first time after a safety car restart, after the safety car comes in. And I timed that to absolute perfection. Might be a bit lucky, some luck might have been involved. But yeah, I feel that was a great opportunist manoeuvre there. And the great thing about safety cars is that they bunch the pack up. So here, I'm having the opportunity to engage in some wheel-to-wheel racing with some drivers that I hadn't had the opportunity to early in the race. Running a bit wide there. You see the car in front had his indicator on. That's actually very easy in these cars. So the indicator stalk is actually just above the gear stick there, and it's like a left-right switch. It doesn't cancel itself like a regular road car indicator. So when you switch it on, it doesn't get switched off until you manually do it by centering the switch. So you'll see a lot of cars accidentally switch on those indicators there when they're you know, when the drivers are making gear changes relatively quickly, as I've done on many an occasion, as you've probably seen in some of my videos. But back to racing, coming down in through the carrying curves here. It's pretty close stuff. Coming back into the old hairpin. I managed to make a move through the kink there and into McLean's, and try to cover off the inside there, but I'm not really aggressive enough. I just decided to take the optimal line for Coppice instead, which allows the driver in front to get through. So it's a bit of a drag race to the final chicane, and we'll see who gets through. So braking as hard as late as I can, because I know the driver on the inside is right there, and he pushes me wide, or rather I just hang on and have to go through the those ugly bits of the chicane. Looking to my left, I can see the driver next to me just racing me to the line, and that's the race over, checkered flag. But luckily I finished in front of that driver and finished P17. I only finished 300th of a second in front of him, so it was extremely close. I don't know, you might have heard me shouting into my helmet there, G'ing myself on across the finish line. But that was a very enjoyable race. Very, very enjoyable indeed. And then it was time for race 2 on Sunday. 10:45 AM was the time of the next race. Race 2, starting from 17th on the inside this time. Letting the revs rise. And off. And I get a good launch, not as good as the previous race, but okay nonetheless. Massively advantaged by being on the inside. And luckily avoiding this incident here. And unlike the first race, it doesn't compromise me too much. And we go through Coppice for the first time. Sorry, not Coppice, the Craner Curves. Making a nice move around the outside there into the old hairpin. So as always, my main aim is to try and get through the first lap in one piece. So just settling into the race now. And I can see the train ahead. They're not too far ahead, which is encouraging for me. Downshifting into the chicane for the first time. Get a good exit, and I'm able to make another place, and that's the first lap done with some places made, I think. And into Redgate, maximising the exit there. Focusing on trying to stay in the slipstream coming down the Craner Curves. Maximising my speed through the old hairpin. And up the hill through to McLean's, just eager to get involved in that racing action ahead. These drivers fighting allows me to get ever closer and into the slipstream. But as both cars are covering the track, it's hard to make a move. And I actually lose a position there. and into lap 3. Through Craner for the first time. It's actually a lot steeper than it looks on screen, and just the picturesqueness of the circuit from there doesn't do the track justice on video. Is picturesqueness the word? I don't know. Oh, I've just made that up. It's very picturesque. So coming here, I know from previous laps that this corner here always invites a send up the inside and make another place. And may have good momentum coming into the final chicane. Can I outbrake the driver next to me? Yes, I can on this occasion. So another place made, which is good. So generally happy with the progress I'm making at this point of the race. As you can see, there's some clear air in front of me. So whilst I'm focusing on that, the car beside tries to get ahead, but because I've got the inside line, I've got the advantage and maintain the position. So time to refocus on trying to get through the lap as cleanly as possible and catch the cars ahead. Try to keep things as smooth as possible in these fast corners, trying to minimise the amount of steering lock applied. But as you can see, having trouble engaging third gear there, and yeah, having trouble engaging any gear there, which allows cars behind to overtake me. Yeah, not being able to engage those gears is quite worrying. And at this point I'm wondering whether it's a sign of something terminal. So able to engage third gear going to the chicane, and after that simply not able to engage any gear whatsoever. So look for the earliest opportunity to pull off the track, which isn't easy when there's cars travelling probably at well over 100 miles an hour around you, but managed to see that there's a marshal's post.
So plenty of water will be down there. That's Aaron Stevens, another disappointing entry
By the first corner. And that's it, race over.
A bit further, mate, if you can.
Oh, the gearbox has gone.
Yeah.
We turn it round. Can do.
And here,
We'll turn you round so you're facing the other way. Just go to your left.
just being helped by the marshals.
Back to the right. Back up. Right.
So I'll be silent for now, just to let you know what it's like retiring from the race.
Just lost drive, mate. No drive.
Gearbox has gone, yeah.
Yeah. Should be straight, so no drive. No drive again.
Ooh.
Bit warm in there.
That's it. Highs and lows of racing. Looks like my gearbox has failed just part way into that race, which yeah, is a real shame because I had some good pace there and was really reveling in the on-track action. But yeah, I can't be too disappointed. This is an epic track, and up until that point, yeah, I was engaged in some real wheel-to-wheel action. Just watching the guys I was racing with getting towards the front of the pack, so yeah, massively disappointing. But yeah, be back for the next one, strong and ready, and yeah, I'll talk about it more when I've got some time. So just here on the inside of turn 1 at Donington, Redgate, waiting to be towed. Luckily, the gearbox failure happened as I was coming to the escape road at the first corner, so first instinct was to try and find a gap. Luckily there was a marshal's post there, and I guess I'll be here until the end of the race, so it'll be a good chance to watch some racing. But yeah, I'll be recording my further thoughts and developments in a bit. The highs and lows of racing, it really is a roller coaster. And at the end of the race, I was then towed through the paddock back to the Caterham garage for my exact problem to be diagnosed. Now this is the first time I've been towed in my life, so I was advised to keep enough pressure on the brakes so that the tow line stayed taut enough throughout the journey. And after a few minutes, I arrived at the garage. However, nothing could be done there, so the car had to go back onto the transporter early for me to find out what damage and repair bills await for the next race.